I think that the Beatles have transcended time, and that's why I could be so excited about them today. And as for John, I still can't believe he's not physically with us today on Earth, because I feel like he is, and I even speak about him in present tense. I'd really like to share something I wrote about John when I started reading more about him and Beatlemania kind of started settling in into my life. So here it is. Why do I say that I miss John Lennon when his physical form wasn't even present on Earth when I was born? For some reason, I feel like he's still living. I talk about him as if he is. When I read about him, I feel like he is and should be alive. John to me actually doesn't seem like a normal human being. He seems like this otherworldly guy who had some kind of purpose in the world. As corny as that sounds, I really feel that way. John left such a huge legacy. Who isn't proud of him? And even if you didn't like him, you can't deny that he still left his mark on the world. I'm reading this book of memoirs written by all these people who knew him, but also people who never even met him. There's John's cousin Mike and his dear friend Elliot Mintz. Mike said that even when he was little, all the cousins younger than him would kind of look up to John because he was just different. Isn't that crazy? John Lennon possessed that aura since he was a kid, and it only grew bigger as he got older. Elliot Mintz not only talked about John's music, but also how it was such a pleasure to talk to him. Mintz said that many of the great moments he experienced with the Lennons were in the bedroom. Now don't jump to any strange conclusions yet. As weird as it sounds, Mintz wrote that the hours spent in the bedroom were enough for him, and every experience outside the bedroom with John and Yoko were just dessert. I read the letter that John and Yoko wrote to the Los Angeles Times, explaining why they were being a bit reclusive. It was called A Love Letter from John and Yoko to People Who Ask Us What, When, and Why. Sounds typical for them, a love letter. Some people might read the letter and consider it rubbish. I find it inspiring. It's so weird. They start writing about wishing, how it's almost like magic. And I believed them. Here's a portion from the letter. More and more, we are starting to wish and pray. The things we have tried to achieve in the past by flashing a V sign, we try now through wishing. We are not doing this because it is simpler. Wishing is more effective than waving flags. It works. It's like magic. Magic is simple. Magic is real. The secret of it is to know that it is simple and not kill it with an elaborate ritual, which is a sign of insecurity. When somebody is angry with us, we draw a halo around his or her head in our minds. Does the person stop being angry then? Well, we don't know. We know though that when we draw a halo around a person, suddenly the person starts to look like an angel to us. This helps us feel warm towards the person. Reminds us that everyone has goodness inside, and that all people who come to us are angels in disguise, carrying messages and gifts to us from the universe. Magic is logical. Try it sometime. I love that piece. It's funny because I was actually talking to my friend about someone I was annoyed with before I started reading that part of the letter. If you watch videos of John, his caustic wit is kind of intimidating. If you said anything even slightly stupid, he would pounce. However, he was a softie inside, as you can tell from his relationship with his son. There's a piece in the memoir written by Astrid Kircher, who took a famous portrait of a mourning John Lennon at 19 years old. Both Astrid and John were very close to Stu Sutcliffe, a former member of the Beatles way back in the day. Stu suddenly passed, and both Astrid, who was Stu's fiancée at the time, and John were grieving in Hamburg. Astrid took a picture of John very soon after Stuart passed away, and it almost looks like John was about to cry, or he had been crying for a while. Even though I've been saying that John seemed like an untouchable, non-human presence, this photo right here, this one I'm talking about, it's proof that he was human. and that he had emotions. John didn't like the intense fame he had with the Beatles during Beatlemania, but in the 70s he was able to hone his fame for big purposes, playing in benefit concerts, getting the message of peace out there, and so much more. John could be described in so many words: activist, husband, father, musician, witty, funny, tough, but soft on the inside. But there's one word that just sums it all up: revolutionary. John, even though I didn't ever have the chance to meet you and never was able to say hello, let alone goodbye, I miss you, and because of you, I'm more outspoken than I ever was before. You've inspired me to learn music. I'm trying to play real love on the piano right now. And best of all, you've made me happy to be alive. I smile whenever I see you sing or dance or simply joke around. To know you existed and to recognize your legacy just makes me so happy to be alive. Thank you for everything, John, and I love you.